Hey, good morning. I'm Danny, aka Topless, and today we are 25 miles away from Kennedy Meadows, which is the 700-mile marker of the Pacific Crest Trail. It's a huge, like, first accomplishment when it comes to the Pacific Crest Trail because it marks not quite the end of the desert, but the beginning of the Sierras. And the Sierras are supposed to be the most amazing part of this whole experience. I had a trail angel slash PCT hiker who had completed it a previous year. He said that the Pacific Crest Trail is broken into three main pieces. There's from Mexico to the Sierras, which is Southern California. There's the Sierras to the top of California, and then there's Oregon and Washington. And there are three main things that describe each one. It's in the beginning, it's the desert, so it's survival. That's what this trip's all about, and that's where I'm at right now. If you haven't noticed, you didn't see my pissed off breakdown a couple of days ago, where I was just like, I'm so tired of carrying water for 20 miles. Survival. That's the first leg of the trip. The second leg, he said, is strength. Because apparently you're in the mountains and there's got to be a lot of just up and down and things like that. Strength. And Oregon and Washington, he said, is speed and agility. Because you've got through the survival, you've hardened up, right? You're battle hardened. You've got the strength, and now you've got to get to the finish line. So that's the way he described it to me, and I thought it was a pretty interesting way to say it. So right now, I'm getting to the end of that first leg, which is survival in the desert. So Kennedy Meadows, 25 miles, which means I can get there by sundown. I would love to get there sooner. So we'll see what happens. I've got All-Star, Link, I forget the third person's name, and Sea Level Jimmy, who apparently got his name because he doesn't like going uphill. He wants to be at sea level, so that's Sea Level Jimmy. They are behind me. They said they get up at 4, they get moving by 5. Right now it is like 5:15. I'm maybe 2 miles ahead. I'm expecting them to walk by right as I'm wrapping up all my repacking, my morning routine. Every morning I wrestle all my stuff into little bags and then into a backpack. That's how I stay so fit. So yeah, I'm hoping to see them soon, and hopefully we'll all roll into Kennedy Meadows together. It is Link's birthday today, and I would love to buy him a beer. So let's make that happen. Oh, right. But the reason I started the camera was none of that. I started the camera to show you how much food I have left. Let's turn it around. All right, here is everything that I have left. Again, there's one day to Kennedy Meadows, so I have plenty of food, but it's also interesting to notice that I eat a lot more food than normal out here. So I might have this for breakfast. Oh, let me just tell you what I got. I got a tiny bit of Fritos left. This is some trail mix where all of the chocolate has melted. So I've been eating it with a spoon. I have 3 of these instant noodles. This is some olive oil, which is literally just the lightest, densest calories you can carry. I've got some instant coffee. One of these is almost empty. One of these is full. So I've got plenty of peanut butter. I've got one more pack of instant mashed potatoes and bacon bits, which hasn't been opened yet. These are real bacon bits. They're not the fake ones. And then just some extras. So like salt, pepper, some seasoning, and also my Flintstones chewables. And then I've got a whole bunch of these emergencies, because if you buy them separately, they're $1 a piece. But if you buy them a pack of 30 or a box of 30, they're $10 total. So I buy the big box. I've got a few of these. I think I've got 3 of these left. I've started drinking these instead of doing the coffee because it's so much faster, but it's heavy compared to that coffee. And then this was one of our new tricks. This is all Parmesan cheese. It's like the type of Parmesan cheese you see on the table when you have like a spaghetti dinner. It's like the crappy cheap stuff, but it's still Parmesan cheese. So take all this, put it in here, right? Add bacon bits and add Parmesan cheese, and now you've got bacon mashed potatoes, or cheesy bacon mashed potatoes. So, and the Parmesan cheese also works pretty good in the instant noodle as well, and so does the bacon bits. So, but anyways, as far as food left, let's say, oh, yeah, it's tricky. So what I found, what I've been doing lately is I don't have 3 meals. I have more like 5. So I get up and I have like a bar or 2, so like snacky type stuff. Then I'll sit down and I'll have some actual food out of this. And then I'll find myself snacking again, and then have food again, and then snack again, and go to sleep. So, for example, today, this could be my snack that gets me going, my nice melted trail mix. And then maybe I'll have this at my first break, and I'll put some of the bacon bits into here for my second break, and then here's my other snack. So, and then I'm definitely putting Parmesan cheese in there. So this, and then you add this for calories. So this is what I might eat today. So tomorrow I would have some of this. I have 2 instant noodles left, and I'd have plenty of peanut butter because I haven't even cracked this one open. This was a total waste. I shouldn't have carried this. This is, how many pounds is this? This is 1 pound of peanut butter, and I have not even opened it. So that was a huge miscalculation right there. But just so you get an idea, this is the food I eat in a day, and it's kind of a lot. Actually, I'm going to calculate the calories right now. Okay, based on the labels, this is 1,500 calories right here. And I can't really calculate this very well. So plus olive oil, plus Parmesan cheese, plus a bunch of trail mix. I'm probably eating anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day. But I have noticed, actually, let me turn this around. So I'm eating anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day. And I've noticed that, like, my body is like changing. Like, I feel like I'm getting leaner in some places, but I still have like a muffin top, and it's driving me nuts. So to be out here for 2 months and to be doing almost 30-mile days lately, and to have a muffin top, I am like, WTF, what is going on here? This is ridiculous. So I've been a little more conscious about the food that I'm buying, because when you're in a store and you're rushing and you're just trying to get calories, it's so easy to buy crap. I mean, sugar's got a lot of calories in it. Also spikes you and drops you. So same thing, like I'm trying to figure out if I should have so many just carbs, basically. So I'm trying to figure out, and I've been asking a lot of other hikers what they've been eating, and I definitely want to change what I buy in the grocery store so that I have calories that are getting me where I'm going, calories that are powering my body, and not leaving me with a muffin top, which is ridiculous. This one right here, the food that I just showed you, my last resupply, I purposely tried not to buy any sugar. And I definitely noticed that I'm missing it. Like the little chocolates that are in the trail mix, like I definitely, as soon as I put a spoonful of trail mix in my mouth, I remember, that's what sugar tastes like. This is super sweet. So I'm definitely, I think I'm definitely weaning myself off the sugar again, which, if you didn't know, I lost 60 pounds a few years ago. And the big thing I found was that I was addicted to sugar, probably my whole life. And a lot of people out there in the US are addicted to sugar and don't even know it. I didn't know it. I wrote a book about it. You can find it on Amazon. It's called The Wind Power Diet by Danny Burble. But holy crap, our society's addicted to sugar. So I found myself slowly getting too much sugar again since I started this trip, because it's so easy to buy sugar and buy calories that way. So I'm consciously no longer resupplying with sugar, and I'm consciously gonna make a decision here. I keep looking down at the food. I'm constantly gonna make a decision here at my next resupply to bring calories that are probably less carby, right? Less of this, more of this, and probably, actually eat this. Okay, that's enough of that. I'm gonna get walking. Well, I'm gonna get packing. Then I'm gonna get walking. Okay, here's the first water for today. Looks pretty stagnant. It looks like it's not moving. It's clear though. Makes me think it's moving. So I'm gonna look upstream a little bit. Okay, I'm not sure if you can hear that, but I definitely hear water falling. So it's running. I'm only maybe 100 paces up the stream. Let's look down here. Oh, I see movement. Oh yeah, look at that. Look how that is running real fast. Perfect. I'm gonna pull my water from right here. Wow. I think it's a registry, but it looks like it's fallen over. But the hinges are on the bottom. Let's see what's inside. Oh, there's stuff in here. Nice. So, okay, cool. Splash, Kyle, Nate, Grant, Major came through on the 19th. AWOL got Sunshine on the 20th, and Tidbits, Sunshine, the boys, basically. Oh, Curious George just came through. And look at this, right here. These signs I really enjoy. It says, wilderness boundary behind this sign. So, basically, these signs, every now and then you'll be in a space that has been set aside as for tourism or for parks or recreation or whatever, but you'll always run into these signs that basically say, hey, you are now leaving the area, you're going back into the wilderness. And basically we're going out into the wild. And there's bears and stuff out here, and you could die, and that's basically what it's telling you. So, I've seen a lot of those signs in the last 2 months. You know, it's actually kind of amazing. I think the first time I saw that sign, I thought, wow, there's still places on this planet that are considered the wilderness, that are still wild and humans haven't destroyed. So I do really appreciate the fact that we have these spaces in the US where this is the way it's always been here. There's always been these trees, there's always been bears and mountain lions and bugs and all that crap. But it's also pretty fantastic to be able to walk through it and experience it the same way someone would have 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. So, yeah, I really like those wilderness boundary signs. It's also a reason why, if you're ever doing something like this with me, you'll find that I'm very adamant about leave no trace. And leave no trace not only means don't leave anything behind, but it also means don't damage the things you see. You know, leave them here so everyone can enjoy them for thousands more years. But yeah, I remember going on a hike with some friends and some friends of friends, and we got to this awesome zebra slot canyon. It's gorgeous, and there was like some watery spots that you could walk through to get to even cooler parts of the zebra slot canyon. You had to wedge yourself through. Some people couldn't go because they weren't small enough. It was just really neat. And on the way out, I happened to be one of the last two out. I noticed that someone from our group took a bunch of orange peels and a couple of banana peels and just threw them on the ground. And their reasoning was, oh, you know, it's from nature, it'll just decompose. And that's bull. For the record, you bring something in from a different environment and drop it into this environment. For example, that was a desert slot canyon. You bring some of that stuff in there and you drop it in. You're not only changing the environment, but you're also teaching animals to not hunt for themselves, to not be wild. Before long, you'll end up with aggressive rodents and squirrels and bears and things like that that will now show up to the trail looking for you and the food you brought. So yeah, leave no trace also includes things that are biodegradable. So don't Don't break things, don't leave things behind. What was it? Leave only footprints. And take only pictures. One other interesting thing about being out here in the wilderness is that, like I said earlier, yeah, you can die. There's bears, there's, what is it, mountain lions, there's the desert, there's falling rocks, there's cliffs you could fall off, trail that'll break away, and people do die. And if you see my last couple of videos with Tiger, a hiker did die a few days ago in the desert of heat exhaustion. And it's very tragic because there was 2 people, and it sounds like they may have waited too long to press their SOS button on their GPS device. And yeah, she basically died in his arms. And also when I was going through, I forget the name of the mountain, but back before the I-10 underpass and Cabazon, we were 9,000 feet up, and we were running into all these little flyers for a missing hiker. And the missing hiker is assumed dead, basically. So there were directions on the flyer to not touch anything. Like, they gave you a description of their equipment, and they said if you discover them, don't touch them, and take a photo, contact the authorities, get your GPS location, that sort of thing. So before coming out on this trip, one of the things to consider was whether or not I should write a living will. A lot of people will write a will, and a lot of people will leave a lot of, like, just smart info to friends and family. So it's like, if I'm lost, here are the things you will need to give the authorities. Here's a picture of all my equipment. You know, here's my GPS device address and things like that. So it's pretty serious. And when I came out here, I struggled with whether or not I should write a will. And I decided not to. I know it sounds pretty egotistical, but I decided I'm not going to die. And I also did not get a GPS device because of the 4 of us, 2 of us had GPS devices. And I figured, well, great, you know, I'll always be hiking with somebody who has a GPS device, but that kind of didn't pan out. So I'm actually taking a bit of a risk on this hike, not having a GPS device, because things can happen. You can fall, you can twist something, you can get stuck without water. Yeah, there are ways to die out here. But I'm taking comfort in the fact that there are also a lot of hikers out here because it's hiking season. And I've run into hikers every day. So even though I don't have a GPS device, and I don't recommend you come out here without one, I'm keeping an eye out for hikers who do. If you remember the fun little fiasco where Tiger ate some stuff off the side of the trail and got really sick, there was a moment where I was questioning whether or not I was going to watch her die before me. I didn't have a GPS device on me, and she didn't have hers either, because we left it back in the tent. We had gone for water. And it was a half an hour before some hikers showed up and had a GPS device. So I've actually been a lot more conscious reading the registries of who's in front of me, who's behind me. And when I meet people, I actually look for their GPS device. So if something happens, I know which direction to run to get help, if I can run, and how long I'd have to wait for someone to show up from behind me if I have to wait. So anyways, blah, blah, blah. Out in the wild, you think about these things. All right, I was gonna walk right by this water source because it was only 2 miles away from the last one. It's a little piped in spring, dripping. Trough does not look like fun. Wouldn't want any animals drinking out of that. But yeah, I don't need water, but let me turn this around. I don't need water, but I ran into a woman who got heat exhaustion early on in the trip, and she said that one of the things that she was told to do was to dunk her shirt in water to keep it cool. There's a butterfly flying around. Where'd it go? Oh, it keeps flying behind me. I'm not sure if you saw it. She was told to dunk her shirt in water to fight heat exhaustion. And it's only like 10 a.m. and it's getting pretty hot out here. So I was gonna put my shirt in the water real quick and see how that goes. Whew. I wish you'd seen me put that on. It's like jumping into a cold swimming pool. Like, whoa, I'm super cold right now. And it's perfect because I'm under the sun, and I'm gonna see how many miles this gets me. I've got 10 more to go to the next water source, so I'm gonna get moving. So it's about 1:30. I've got 4.5 more miles to the next water source. And when I left that last water source, that creek or whatever, it was 12 miles away. So it's looking like I should roll into this water source around 3:30 maybe, which is the hottest part of the day. So I'm gonna chill there. I'm definitely gonna dunk my shirt in water again. Holy cow, that worked so well. My shirt was like cold, and when the wind hit it, it like reactivated the cold for at least half an hour. And then it just hasn't gotten just dangerously hot since. And I think it's a little bit to do with the day. Of course, the wind picks up as soon as I start recording. I think it has to do a little bit with the day. I don't think it's the hottest temperature today, but normally my shirt feels hot against my skin at some point, and I feel like dunking it in water, it's almost like the underside or the inside of the shirt stayed cooler and wet, if that makes sense, while the outside dried, and then it eventually dried all the way through. So yeah, so looking forward to 4.5 more miles. Can dunk the shirt in water again. Another cold plunge feeling. And then from there, I mean, at the moment, I think I'm 10 miles from Kennedy Meadows. And that means, let me see, I'll get to the water source. I'll be 5.5 miles from Kennedy Meadows. I'm not sure if I want to push really hard to get to Kennedy Meadows before sunset, or if I'm going to get really, really close and set up a tent and then roll into Kennedy Meadows in the morning. Because I don't want to show up to civilization in the middle of night and have to figure out now what. It's better at the moment, I'm more prepared and more equipped to just sleep on the trail somewhere than I am to be in town at like 11 o'clock at night trying to figure out what to do. So, but yeah, I'm getting really excited about being in Kennedy Meadows. It's such a humongous milestone for this trip. There's a saying about like the people who make it to Kennedy Meadows and how your percentage of actually finishing the trail goes way up. Like the chances that you're gonna get to Canada are a lot higher if you make it to Kennedy Meadows. So, and I'm already, dreaming of simple things like sitting down at a table in a restaurant and having an infinite supply of ice water, maybe using an actual restroom that doesn't involve digging a hole with a shovel. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to being in town again. Okay, I don't want to freak you out. I'm going to show you a dead animal, but it looks like it just died, so I think it's kind of intriguing. So it looks like one of those desert mice I see at night. He's got like a kangaroo looking leg, like a frog or something. They bounce around a lot like a rabbit. I didn't know their tails were so furry on the end, but I'm not sure what happened to this guy. I wonder if he got heat stroke maybe. But yeah, at first I thought he was playing dead, but now I'm pretty sure he's dead. So, but interesting to know what they look like in the daytime. All right, I made it to the water source. is this nice little stream right here. It's flowing pretty quickly. Flows downhill. It's really beautiful. So I've got 9 more miles or 8 more miles to Kennedy Meadows, which is awesome. And I've got 4 miles to the next water, so I don't have to carry very much. So 4 miles, get more water, 4 more miles. Sounds awesome. Also, I'm probably gonna eat first because it's about 3:30. Probably roll out of here around 4. So maybe get to Kennedy Meadows around 8. Should be good. Well, this is definitely the flattest desert that I have had to walk through so far. The Pacific Crest Trail likes to trace mountains and stuff, so it's kind of interesting to be walking straight through a flat desert. So I'm in the middle of a slightly less scary now adventure. So as I was coming up to the road to Kennedy Meadows, of course the wind kicks in. So as I was coming up for my last, I don't know, quarter of a mile, I ran into a 65-year-old who was hiking and hasn't eaten all day and was pretty much collapsing on the side of the road. So I stuck with him until I could eventually stand in front of a car and get them to stop and get him in a car into town. Everything is closed here by 8 o'clock. So we got down to Grumpy Bear's Retreat, I think it's called, which is across from Triple Crown Outfitters. And he's thrown up a couple times. He's eaten nothing all day but water, and he was throwing up. He's basically got heat stroke. He said he was running or trotting, he said, the last couple miles. So kind of a scary situation. But we got him here. The people at Grumpy Bears are taking care of him. And they said that if they need him, if he needs any help in the middle of the night, they told him to knock on his door, on their door basically. So right now I'm just trying to scope out where to put a tent up, and I'm probably gonna carry his stuff up here and help him set up a tent because he can barely walk. So that's what we're doing right now.